FaceTime Sex. It's not the angle that you're hearing everywhere else.
You're Blocked with Eden Middleman and Simona Catalano.
I just heard about FaceTime Sex. I didn't know FaceTime Sex was a thing literally until like last night.
If you don't know what it is, I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you can guess.
I mean,
it's basically taking your phone, going on FaceTime, and literally masturbating to one another.
Exactly.
And calling it FaceTime Sex.
It's not sex because...
I mean, you're not going to insert the phone in your vagina.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure some people have done that.
So, but I get why, like, it exists, and I get why people are doing it, especially with COVID, quarantine, long distance. I don't see it as offering me anything. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if I decide to do it, I'll, like, let you know if that opinion changes. But I just, for right now, I think that's where I stand on FaceTime Sex. Like, I think I would only engage if I couldn't physically be with my man, and like it was like a prolonged period of time.
For FaceTime Sex, I guess what we both can agree on and what our stance is basically we don't encourage it. We actually don't think it's the best thing for you for many reasons.
Well, I think primarily because of
safety.
Safety, yes.
And I just want to make that clear because everybody out here is glorifying FaceTime Sex, making it this whole hype thing. A lot of it is just to please the guy, to give him some show so that he can masterbate.
Exactly.
To
it's
you.
Literally a performance. Like, you gotta wear something hot, obviously. You need to work your angles. Like, I mean, listen, even when you FaceTime a guy, you're like, oh, what do I look like right now? Like, it's like, you can only see that like little like bubble, right? So like, imagine you're like having to do things in weird angles, like the anxiety of like, what the fuck do I
moment
for me?
Like,
I'm like have to worry about what the fuck I look like doing these things, and like going the extra mile of like acting it out for yourself in order to see what you look like before. Like, it's just like a fucking production.
Can you imagine?
Like
here's test drive, like put self timer and just
like self timer and start like just, and then watch yourself just so you know what we're like. No.
FaceTime Sex can be beneficial if it's needed, if the relationship calls for, if it's long distance, quarantine, like you said, all that stuff, wonderful. Like, you can give it a shot.
Yes.
However, I just want to make it very clear, out of a safety perspective, you should not be doing FaceTime Sex with anybody that is not your significant other. Like, you need to trust this person 1,000 billion trillion %.
It goes back to like also our nudes. Like, we preface this with our nudes, like
our nudes episode.
Not
with
like,
our nudes.
I have super anxiety about my face and my body being naked in the same frame.
Oh no.
So nudes already like freak me out, and I need to have an immense level of trust with the person in order to do that. So like, FaceTime Sex would be the literal equivalent, because I know that my anxiety would be super fucking heightened. Like, there's fucking screen record. Like, how do you not get your face and your body in the same frame?
You have to be careful, because if it's not screen record, there's so many other means in which a guy can actually record it without you knowing at all. He can lie to your face.
Like snapshot, like
another camera.
The level of trust needs to be fucking solid.
If you're gonna do it, my number one tip, and if you're like you trust him, but you're also kind of like, I don't know, like we all have those doubts. A, I would just not do it. Or B, if you really want to engage in it because you're also curious, and that's totally fine. You should be able to do whatever you want, and try new things to really know if you like it or don't. Never, like you said, keep in mind throughout the whole thing, if you're going to do something down there, keep the camera there. In places that are not noticeable, don't wear jewelry that's noticeable. Don't show your tattoos that are noticeable or that are identifiable.
So good.
And keep your face and body not in the same frame at the same time.
It's difficult because that's something you need to constantly be thinking about while you're touching yourself and recording yourself.
And watching him and talking and
what, right? And he's literally guaranteed just belly button and dick. He's just like, oh. Right? Like, you're putting in all the work. There's a lot of fucking shit that, like, background work that you need to do that goes into that. It's not like something that's like super light and casual.
It's not light and casual. It's risque as fuck.
It's risque
and
as
is
fuck.
It worth it at the end of the day is the question you should ask yourself. Meh.
A lot of people play the angle of like, well, let's say you're in the honeymoon phase and you can't physically be together. I get it. It's fucking difficult.
Yeah.
And it's so challenging. So people like you obviously have to get creative. I understand that this is a way to get creative, but a lot of people are not talking about the cons, like what could happen, the consequences. and like, you know, the things that cause anxiety from engaging in this behavior. Everybody's just like, okay, I did this. I'm like, this is what I did. And like, it was really hot and it was really good. I'm sure it fucking was. But what about the girls that are like us that like literally freak out? Like, of course, if I'm in the honeymoon phase, I want to be with you. I want to touch you. And if I can't do that, I'm down to get creative. But I also need to acknowledge the fact of like, I have like a lot of anxiety about like being filmed naked. Like, I need to know that you're the one. I'm not saying I'll never do it, but with maybe that right person.
I've done FaceTime sex before, and I don't particularly enjoy it for all the reasons that we stated. And also, to me, if I'm going to touch myself and I'm alone, like, I don't want to be filmed. I don't know. I don't want to send it to anyone. It's not like, very private. Like, it's weird.
Here's the thing. It's on you to make you come at that point.
It is.
Because, like, FaceTime sex, it's literally all about him, and he's not, like, at least I don't feel like, is he like coaching you through, like directing you, telling you what to do? And like, if he is, it's for like him to get off.
Yes.
It's not like
help feels a little bossy.
Yeah, it's not like for you.
No,
it's not like you're not enjoying it. It's like you're doing it for him. And I'm just like, it's just like, it has.
I know, it's not like for us, we don't really like enjoy it as much. So what I found that works instead of that, so if you're really on that and you really need it and you want to do something, you want to spice it up, what I found works is like more of videotaping yourself, having your moment, doing your thing, enjoying yourself, and then you can send it to him long enough so that he can sit there and do his thing. So I would go with sexting first, but also, and then send little videos in the middle of it while you continue this whole conversation. Don't ever put your face and your fucking body and identifiable things like in that video, because that video, it's in cyberspace. Like, I don't encourage doing it at all. If you want to, try that first, see how you feel, because you have more control. You can actually look, you can do a little bit of editing if you want to. You can kind of figure out your angles, re-record,
I mean, nudes are always good. Like, it doesn't need to be like videos either. Like,
videos are better though.
They're better, but like
as a girl,
you send literally a photo album of nudes, like, I'm sure it'll suffice. Like,
right, for him. But as a girl, now let's talk about the girls. Let's talk about the girls.
For you.
Like, as a woman, like, I don't really care to get a dick pic from my man.
Yeah.
What I do think is hot is when I see my man doing his thing to me. So he'll pull out a picture of me or whatever and do that.
Yes.
And show me that he's doing that.
Here's the thing.
And that is like,
if you're doing FaceTime sex and he's like genuinely into you and you're in a committed relationship and he's, you know, going the extra mile to do something that he knows you like, that okay, then that's different.
Makes sense.
Because then he's contributing to your pleasure. But I think that a lot, at least what I've been hearing and what I've been reading up on, it doesn't seem like that's the case for these girls that are talking about it. What am I gonna do that's gonna make it hot for him? And I'm like, okay, but like, what's the reverse of that? Like, how is this beneficial for you? Because if I want to engage in something that's going to make me have a lot of anxiety and make me like a little bit nervous and like uncomfortable, I need to make sure that my pleasure is being taken into account here.
Absolutely. And I don't think the girls that are out here saying, oh, do this for FaceTime sex, do this to spice it up, are focusing on the girls themselves. They're actually just telling you how to look and appeal hot to somebody else.
Yes.
However, sometimes it does work both ways. I know that there is the argument, I'm sure that those girls would say like, oh, well, you know, by you doing that turns him on, and turn that, at least turn
if him getting turned on, okay, that's great, but also what works for you, different strokes for different folks.
Right.
For me, listening to that stuff, I'm like, I have so many questions and I don't agree with this stuff, and I'm sure there's so many girls that need to hear this side of it and not just do that for him.
Like, I think what they've done is they've tried to make FaceTime sex normal, that everybody should be doing or experiencing. And if you haven't done it, you don't need to do it. Like, it's not like a must.
Like, I just learned about it. Like, that's how new I am. I was like, wait, what?
It's just this generation.
People are doing this?
Yeah. It's honestly, guys, it's just so overrated. It is not as good as it seems.
I always think I'm thinking outside the box, and I'm always just surprised. I'm like, fuck, like, where have I been? When you're talking about something and you're for something, in anything in life, having an argument or like having an opinion about something, you kind of need to like back up why it is you feel that way and like shed light on the other side of it. Whereas like, I don't feel like that was done in the conversations that I was hearing, which made me want to just contribute to the conversation as a whole and be like, there's also this side.
Yeah, absolutely.
You neglected like informing us about the other side, the negatives. And you have to be aware if you're talking about something and like sharing an opinion, what that other aspect is. What is the other side of that conversation?
Because there's so many other girls and guys that are watching these other opinions being like, well, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I didn't know it was so normal. Like, maybe I'm fucked up. Maybe I need to like rethink my feelings about it. No, you don't. Like, you are valid in how you feel. That's our, honestly, like the moral of the story for every video we ever do. Do what's fucking right for you. Do what feels good for you.
Right for you.
Adjust things. If you want to try something new, try and tweak it in a way that makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
If you don't, fuck it.
I think you can only engage also in FaceTime sex if you know what works for you. Like, if you know how to get you off.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do FaceTime sex
if you don't know how to get yourself
if you don't know how to get yourself off. So, like, if you don't, like, just be prepared to be literally directed by the other person for their pleasure only. Right?
Or
Like,
if you make shit really awkward if you're both new at it. Like, I feel like it could go south. It could go really bad.
Like, one of us needs to know what's going
how
on
this
here.
works,
And like, and you know, if it is the guy that is like asking you to engage in this stuff, and you're like nervous, make sure that like you trust him enough that he's going to be kind to you and not just direct you for his own pleasure. Like, I'm always like trying to turn it back to you. Like, is this beneficial for you? Like, if I'm gonna have anxiety about this later, I want to make sure that I at least fucking came.
FaceTime sex only really works if both of you know each other. Think about it.
Yes, he needs to know your body, what works for you, and like
what you like.
Yes.
Because if he's like, do you like when I do this or when I do that or whatever, it's like it ruins the mood.
Because here's the thing, if you do that for a guy, he's gonna be like, yes, no matter what the fuck you do.
Yeah.
Like, you like this? He's gonna be like, yeah, like, yeah. Listen, like, your belly button's not doing it for me now. Like, fucking angle the camera. As someone who's like never engaged in it, I'm like trying to think through, how would this be beneficial? What are the cons? Like, what are the pros? And like, let's talk about this before I like decide to engage in it.
Yeah.
Like most of you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So like, thanks so much for like joining us. Like, we'll be back here next week.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for the notifications. And don't forget to follow us on social. We have a lot coming. We're so excited. And that's how you're going to be able to hear about it. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you back here very soon. Bye.
Kiss, kiss, goodbye.